Underneath a curtain of moonlight, I commenced my nightly duties in the sprawling cemetery, an expansive sea of tombstones whispering stories of lives once vibrant but now stilled. The crescent moon above bathed the silent field in a soft glow, lending an otherworldly atmosphere to the surroundings. Tonight, however, the air was charged with a subtle, electric tension, a slight deviation from the tranquility I had grown accustomed to over the years. With a sense of foreboding unfurling within me, I treaded down the familiar paths, eyes scanning the grounds for any discrepancies. It didn't take long before I stumbled upon the first sign of disturbance. A grave that had been neatly closed the previous day now lay open, its headstone displaced and the soil around it churned and unsettled. A flicker of apprehension danced through my chest, casting its chilly tendrils along my spine. Continuing my patrol with heightened vigilance, I discovered more graves in a similar state of disarray, their finality disrupted, and the sacred silence around them fractured. My heart pounded in my ears, each beat a drum roll accentuating the creeping dread settling within me. It was then that I heard it, the faint, rhythmic sound of a shovel piercing the earth, followed by the soft fall of soil. The noise seemed to emanate from a secluded corner of the cemetery, hidden in the embrace of ancient, gnarled trees. With cautious steps, I approached the source, the sounds growing louder and more distinct with each footfall. As I neared, a silhouette emerged from the shadows, bent over a grave, engaged in the act of excavation. Silently, I observed, my presence cloaked in the darkness of the night. The figure worked with purpose, yet there was a grace in its movements, a dance between shadow and moonlight, between life and death. As I took a step closer, the figure straightened, turning slowly to cast its gaze upon me. Even in the dim light, I could sense the depth in those eyes, pools of unspeakable secrets. Without a word, it began walking with a measured, unhurried pace, browsing amongst the tombstones. I found myself amongst the disarray of disturbed graves, the silence around me heavier, imbued with an invisible, pulsing energy. The figure moved through the cemetery. Its presence lingered, casting long shadows that shuddered with the wind. I approached the newly exposed graves with trepidation, each step on the soft soil sending echoes of uncertainty through the night. What I observed was inexplicable. Graves were open, tombstones tipped over. Each displaced headstone, each mound of freshly turned earth revealing another disturbed grave. Caskets were moved, cracked or partially lifted outside the grave. It was as if the silent figure sought to rearrange the bodies beneath the soil. As I pondered this, I couldn't shake off its gaze that had fallen upon me briefly. The cemetery seemed to hold its breath, watching and waiting with bated anticipation. Soon the first rays of dawn began to streak across the sky, illuminating the world around me. I looked up. Amongst the gravestones and under the trees, I could see the figure facing me, watching my every move. It stood there, silent and unmoving, watching me with eyes unseen but deeply felt. Then, without a word, without a gesture, it turned away, disappearing into the distance, leaving behind its trail of disturbed graves. Days turned into weeks, and the mystery of the silent figure and the open graves remained unsolved, weaving itself into the secrets held within the cemetery. And each night, as I walked amongst the tombstones, I could feel it, the gaze, watching me.